Alright, today we're going to be installing this transmission controller by Aces. This is one of the, in the automotive world, this is one of the most plug and play standalone transmission controllers you can get. These things are awesome. But this is the harness. This is, I have a 4L60E in here. I just got this guy put in, rebuilt. And I'm going to use this standalone transmission controller for it because it's an electronic transmission. But this is as easy as it gets. This guy is basically just going to plug in right up in here. This is the output speed sensor, VSS transmission, 4L. Let's see here, newer model 4L60Es have an input speed sensor. That would be for the turbine there. This is an older version to go with my older small block Chevy, so I have that just zip tied to the side because that's not going to be used. So we're just going to put this guy in, and there. And so this, simple as that. Speed sensor. This is the factory speed sensor. So these are made to just plug and play, just as easy as that. And that's done. That's all we have to do for the bottom end. We're going to tuck this wiring harness up against the firewall here, lower it down, and then we will install the rest of the wire harness. Okay, here we are on the top side. That's the wiring harness coming up from the transmission. I just zip tied mine to the dipstick tube because that's where it's going to keep it away from the exhaust manifold and heat. Pretty much the safest place. I have the Killshot already installed on here. So there's a lot of the sensors on this wiring harness that I don't need to connect, like the TPS. I don't need to connect that. There's an extra sensor here. This one here is just an extra sensor. I got it stuck in the zip tie there, but that's just an extra sensor. TPS, all of that's going to be fed off of the CAN cable, and Aces sends the Y splitter so that you can connect your Killshot, Fusion, whatever you have for your engine management. They send a Y for the CAN cable so you can connect all of them together, running on the same handheld or computer or however. But that's where the transmission is going to get all the data, the throttle position sensor, everything that it needs is just going to be coming in off of that CAN cable. So I don't need any of these other sensors hooked up. I'm just going to connect the transmission in. So this guy here is going to plug in to that port down in behind the head there. My setup, you can put your ECU wherever you want, but I have mine. I have a cover right here. I have mine ran through down here. I'm going to make a little bit of opening, but I have my ECUs and everything on the inside just to keep it out of the weather. So I'm going to get this connected. I'll go over running the power lines, 12-volt ground, key, and we'll do all that here after I get this ran to the inside. Okay, we have the wires ran through the firewall there. This is for the engine control. This is transmission. We have our CAN port here. This is where we're going to plug the Y into. I'll show you that in a second. This is your additional inputs. That's going to be this wire set here. I'll go over this real quick. You have your speed out. That's if you have an external tachometer or something, that would be what that's for, or not tach, sorry, external mile per hour display, speed display. This is your torque converter lockup. So this is an input. You would wire a switch to this. When you push the switch, it locks the torque converter. You can lock it at any time. You have your cal select. I'm not sure on that one. So this is your bump down. This is if you say you're going down the highway and you want to, like you're going up a hill or something, and you want to downshift. This would be ran to like a paddle shifter on your steering wheel, or a push button on your steering wheel, or something to where if you push this button, it will kick the transmission down. That's also for like mode select. I'll show you that wire here in a second. But you have bump down, and then you have another one that's bump up. Okay, so here's your bump up. Same thing. If you're running too high of RPMs and you want to shift up a gear, that's what this would be. This would be wired to like your left paddle switch on your steering wheel, or a push button, something that would tell it's a manual input that you're telling the transmission you want it to shift up a gear. This is your torque converter unlock. So I showed you the lock, and then this is your unlock. You have auto mode and manual mode. So auto mode is basically your standard automatic transmission. It will shift for you, do everything that you want. And this is your mode select. So it'll select between auto and manual. Manual mode is basically your slap shifter in your modern cars. If you want to shift up or down, it's basically the same thing as your bump up, bump down when you're in manual mode, except when you're in auto, you can bump up and bump down. Also, once you bump up or bump down, it will still be in auto mode and shift for you. When you're in manual mode, you can redline first gear all day long and the transmission won't shift because it's waiting for that input. That's what manual mode is. So this is your brake input switch. So this is something that you need to have. This basically, when you come to a stop at a stop sign, this is what tells the transmission that you're coming to a stop. So if your torque converter is locked, say you have it locked and you forget and you come up to take a stop, when you push on the brake, it will send a signal that will force the transmission to unlock the torque converter. Otherwise, it will stall your engine out and you'll come to a pretty hard stop. This is your tach input. You don't need this if you're running an existing ACES system. All that information will come in off of the can. That guy there. So that's your additional wires. That's basically what they do. Coming off of the main wire harness that I have plugged in, going down to the transmission, you have your ground, your battery. Make sure you have your ground secured to a good place on the frame. Battery, this guy goes straight to the battery. You don't need to put a fuse or anything because there's already an inline fuse for this guy. It's either this one or there's another one around here. That's your relay. I think that's it. I think this is your main fuse for that wire. Yeah, these feel pretty thick. But this is your main fuse for this positive wire. So this guy goes straight to the battery. You don't want any interference because if you have low voltage, the ECU will not turn on. This thing will not operate unless it sees a minimum of 11.5 volts or something. I have all of my power ran in here. This is a direct to battery 300 amp breaker. I also have a manual disconnect outside on the side of the truck here, but this is a direct to battery terminal here, and that's where I'm going to land my power. This is what Aces sends. This is your can splitter. So one end you have the male, the other end you have two females. This is one female is gonna plug into your ECU, your engine control, and your other female is gonna plug into your transmission controller. And then the other end here will go to whatever you have for visual, heads up display. This is where you plug your can in to plug it into your laptop or to your handheld. And we also have the handheld. So we have the handheld here. Comes with its own wire harness. And then this guy goes down to the female. So you got the two females here. Engine control, transmission control, they go together. Male output into female input for your handheld, and this comes with the kit. I can't beat it. Otherwise, I'm gonna get this stuff hooked up, run the wires, and I will be back and kind of show you what it looks like when it's powered up.